Okay, so it is, what time is it? 5:35 on January 21st, and this is Committee of the Whole, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. And I'm looking for an approval of the agenda. I don't think so. Yes, I have it. It's okay. So I have a motion moved by Councillor Tadman and seconded by Councillor LeBlanc that Council approve the January 21st, 2019 Committee of the Whole meeting agenda as presented. I'm assuming. All those in favor? And that's carried. And do we have any declarations of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? None noted. And we have no delegations. So it's actually citizen comment time. Are there any citizens that would like to comment at this time? Well, I wanted to offer it anyway.
Sometimes, you just never know.
I'm a progressive type, you know. I'm just filling time while I look for the piece of paper. Okay. Do I need to read the approval of the citizen's comment if we didn't have any? Yep. Thank you. Okay, so next on our agenda is the boards and committee appointments. Now I will start with the motion and then I will let the mayor present the information. So I have a motion moved by Councillor Rowley and seconded by Councillor Tadman that the council receive the staff report regarding board and committee appointments and that members of council be appointed to the various boards and committees of the municipality of Brighton.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So we did receive a staff report prepared by the clerk's office and reviewed by the CAO, which gave us some details about specific how many citizens and how many members of council are appointed to the various committees and boards. I do know that our agencies and external boards are hot to trot for us to specifically appoint members of council. So that's what we'll be doing tonight, is appointing council members to various committees and boards. We'll be making decisions on which committees we want to review for terms of reference or for operational details. And I provided you with that grid that I passed around by email mid to late December, but I have added to it, and a couple of the additions are the first one there. I'm suggesting that we create a council committee review team. It would not be a committee of council, it would be an ad hoc group of 3 members of council plus staff to come together, and so any of these committees we asked to go back for review would go to that team with the various staff people that support it, but including Candace, of course, as our clerk, then to provide advice back to council on how those committees should move forward, if those committees should move forward, or what those committees may look like as we go forward in the term. So I would suggest that we simply fill out this grid as we go along, and that will essentially be the grid that is what Candace uses to prepare the bylaw and what we use to create new committees or refer other committees back to the team or to staff or however the Committee of the Whole would like to proceed. So shall we go through the list, Deputy Mayor?
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm... Go ahead, Councillor Rowley.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Regarding your council committee review team, Mayor, do you expect that to be just a temporary at the beginning of this council term, just for a while until we get all of our committees reviewed, or do you expect this to be an ongoing committee to kind of revisit some of the committees as the term goes on?
So my experience with this and things like this is that it would be right now. It would be ad hoc for right now, but that at some point in the next 4 years, we're going to want to strike another committee, and someone will say, well, why don't we get that review team back together, and they can look at that. We'll already have the group ready to go at that point. We won't have to reinvent the proverbial wheel. So rather than striking it and then getting rid of it, we'll just keep that team for the term of council, and they can be the workhorse that helps us out with committee issues.
Go
If
ahead.
that's the will of council.
Councillor Tadman?
Deputy Mayor. The other question, I was thinking the same as Councillor Rowley, but so it would just be the three council members that are appointed?
Well,
Plus
so that we don't have a quorum of council sitting on a committee, right?
I know that, but you wouldn't have any public members on that?
Not on that, no.
No, okay. And so those three would then appoint their own chair for the meetings and agenda and everything, okay?
But because it's a team, it's not a committee of council. So they can just come together, they can make decisions without requiring those statutory minutes, without having to elect a chair and a vice chair. That's why I'm not calling it a committee of council.
Any other questions on the committee of council? Or the not committee of council? Committee review team? Go ahead, Councillor Tadman.
So you want us to suggest who we think should be on the team at that point now?
Sure. Mayor, did you want to go through these, each one? You've put your info on here. If you want to go through, it's easier.
My info, those notes that I've made are the ramblings of someone who, rambles along and sort of picks names out of the air.
Duly
So
noted.
nothing is written in stone, as we all know, in the world of governance. So the first one on the list is the council committee review team, and I would, if it's okay with you, Deputy Mayor, ask who wants to be there.
I would volunteer to go on that committee. Okay. Should be all women, I think.
Get it done quickly.
And we won't fight.
Hashtag me too.
So are you willing to go on that committee?
Sure, if
That
council's
one's
okay
done
with
then.
that. Sounds good.
So that committee would be Councillors Tadman, Rowley, and Deputy Mayor Vink. So the Police Services Board is next, and I'm suggesting that traditionally it's been the Mayor and Deputy Mayor who sit on the Police Services Board from Council. My suggestion is that we continue down that road.
I concur with that. I think that's a wise decision.
Yeah? Any comments? No?
As a committee of the whole, it's a little less formal than the typical council meeting.
You have two councillors there, so it'd be the deputy mayor
And the mayor.
and councillors.
No. So the member of council would be the deputy mayor and the mayor. Those are the members of council, yeah. I think Councillor Anderson had a question or comment on that one.
I'm not opposed to it. I felt that maybe a councillor, and if the mayor's usually always there, right? Deputy mayor,
Not for the Police Services Board.
The mayor
So
usually-
unlike a committee of council, this is an external board or agency. So my appointment, if I would have to be appointed in order to legitimize my attendance at those meetings. A committee of council, I'm an ad hoc member on all committees of council, but not agencies like the Police Services Board, the Library Board, Lower Trent. Those have to come by appointment even for the person in my role.
Now, historically, it has been the mayor and deputy mayor, correct? Yeah.
okay, I won't change history.
So the next one is the Library Board. I have enjoyed a number of terms on the Library Board, but I think it would be a good idea to step back from that. And 3 members expressed interest in that. I'm suggesting that Councillors Tadman and Rowley be our Library Board reps.
Everyone good with that? Okay. Tadman, Rowley. You guys are going to be best friends.
Committee of Adjustment, no one volunteered for that, so I plunked Councillor LeBlanc in there. What do you think, Doug? All right.
I think Councillor Rowley and I both sat on that committee. I think you'll enjoy it, but you don't have many meetings. We didn't have all one meeting last year, and we had one to start of this year, so it's not a big commitment.
No, that's okay.
Okay, so we're good.
But it's an interesting one.
DBIA, Councillor Rowley volunteered. Did you volunteer for that one as well?
Well, they kind of want both of us, but
Yeah.
that's, you know,
I don't think that would be wise.
I'm perfectly okay with Councillor Rowley being on the DBIA.
Everyone okay with that?
Yep.
Thank you for that, Deputy Mayor. I really enjoy being there.
For the Emergency Planning Committee, the appointment is the mayor and 2 members of council. I'm suggesting the deputy mayor because the deputy mayor is part of the emergency control group if there is ever an emergency declared, so it would be wise that she be appointed to the planning committee for emergency planning committee. And there were 2 other volunteers, and I fairly randomly chose Councillor Anderson.
Are we all good with that? Yep, that's good.
Property Standards Committee is only members of the public, so we'll talk about that when we are appointing public members next, the first Monday in February. Yes. The Accessibility Committee, there are
Regarding property standards, what's the reason for not having a council member on that committee?
That's on that as well. It's stipulated in that.
Okay, thank you.
We can check into that if you want to double check. I think simply by tradition, we have not put members of council on that, but it may very well be statutory.
I think it's through their act that it stipulates, but I can check into it for you.
That's fine.
Okay.
Accessibility Committee, 2 members of council are appointed. There was 1 volunteer, Councillor Tadman, so we'll need someone else to step up. Don't forget your microphone, Councillor Bateman. So that was Councillor Bateman who volunteered to step up with Councillor Tadman. Applefest Committee, no one volunteered for that, so I plunked Emily's name in there. Councillor Rowley, I know you chaired that committee eons ago, and you're shaking your head, so why don't you talk?
Well, just basically a comment regarding the Applefest. I'm just wondering if the committee itself, if the event has just outgrown a committee of 6+, regardless of whether it's one councillor or whatever. I would certainly sit there. I don't have any issues with sitting there. I guess I'll wait and see how we get along with the rest of our committees and where we can go with this. I would have some suggestions as how to partner with but that could once again be a committee review team concern.
So perhaps instead of appointing a member, we should ask the review team to review the committee itself, the dynamics, and what the future of the Applefest group, the Applefest team looks like.
I think the municipality needs to be part of it. So I think in a small, but I would hope that maybe going through some of the other ones that we're looking at, that we maybe get another committee. Once again, I'm thinking the Chamber of Commerce, that we partner with them, and that would be part of the terms that we deal with them when we deal with the Chamber of Commerce, right?
Mr. Mayor, could we? Oh, Deputy Mayor?
I just want to make a comment. I do agree with you, and I do think we need to look at partnering with someone or looking at a way of doing that committee a little bit different. It's a huge event, and, you know, we do need to start on it soon, so I would almost like to see someone chosen to be on that committee, and that person might have to be working to get some of these things going.
I would stay. I would be there until we,
Well, let's put your name down.
And I was on the committee the last 4 years. I don't mind kind of just helping out along the side.
maybe we should have two.
May I-
As we do with the community events. It's a much smaller committee.
That's up to the committee of the whole.
Go ahead, Councillor Anderson.
You do have, yes, you do, we do have community events. Could that not be a partner?
They're quite busy with the events that they have. I think if we added Apple Fest
Is an event on its own.
is an event on it, and it takes the whole year to plan.
Okay, a sub,
I just don't know that they'll have enough members to do Apple Fest as well. That's my concern. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, okay.
The manpower. Go ahead, Councillor Tadman.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I understand that they're losing two key players on the Apple Fest committee, both the chair and Linda Wallace that does all the activities at the King Edward Park. So I think, you're going to need some people that are willing to do a lot of work. That just marking off the street, takes a long time.
Yeah. I think
So-
we're even losing more members than that.
Is that
But we
right?
haven't seen who we all have, so we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But I think from the last meeting last year, I'm not sure if any of them were coming back.
Oh,
That may
really?
have changed, but I don't know. So,
Well, could we not then, through you, Deputy Mayor, at least appoint two people from council to sit on it as of right now to try and get it moving forward? Because,
I don't mind.
they should be doing things already.
yes.
So let's appoint Councillor Rowley and Deputy Mayor Vink, and also ask the review team to review
Yeah.
how we govern Apple Fest and what that looks like moving forward. Because I agree, we have a wonderful problem. It's become a big event that is overwhelming a group of volunteers. And
They're all tired out.
I think we need more people helping out, and if that means more professionals, other teams, other groups coming together, then that's what that means. But I also agree that we need to get the ball rolling on Apple Fest, because it'll come before we know it.
Great.
Yeah. Rowley and Vink. Economic development, I'm suggesting that takes up a lot of space in our strategic plan, so I think we need to, or the draft strategic plan, so I think we need to ask the team to review those current terms of reference and come back to council with some suggestions on how we move that forward.
So you're referring it to that
The
committee?
team, yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that in principle, but I know in the last term of council, we kept saying that same thing, and it never happened, and that bothers me.
I know, we never got anywhere with it.
But this is this term of
I
council.
know, I just want to make sure that we're going to move forward on it.
Your team has dedicated itself to getting some work done, so we'll anticipate you coming back with terms
We'll
of
have that
reference,
done for tomorrow.
some recommendations. Well, that's a little early, but that's fine.
May I make a suggestion that we put a date to say we're going to have something in place and that we look at this maybe 2 months, that we put an economic development committee together so that, I agree, we can't leave this on the back burner for another year to make up our minds.
I know that we're going to be hiring hopefully an economic development person who might be able to help with that as well, with the terms of references, right? So maybe that's something that we need to think about.
That's something certainly that the group, when it gets together, can discuss timelines and could offer that information back to council when you report back to council. Councillor Anderson had a question.
Councillor Anderson, go ahead.
I'd like to put my name forth when that happens. I think it's very important to have that that person in place to move forward with that person rather than get a committee going for a few months before they jump in the seat. So I like to see us all jump in the seat at the same time, and I'd be happy to have my name in there.
Great. Candace, did we advertise for that committee or no? Yeah, we did. And we do have people? Okay. Okay, I'm just curious. Just if we do, we should just let them know that we're going to hold off for a little bit. Okay.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Under the Bylaw Review Committee, I'm suggesting that also be reviewed, the terms of reference at least be reviewed, and the process by which bylaws are currently sent be reviewed. I think, I don't recall, but I think that there is, well, I know there's an expectation, but I think that the current terms of reference require council to send a bylaw to the bylaw review committee for review. But there is an expectation that the bylaw review committee will review bylaws because someone doesn't like what happened. And that shouldn't be the case. So I just like the group to review the bylaw review committee, make sure that we're providing the service we anticipate providing with this kind of review committee. Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, it would be good if some of these items you can highlight and send to us so that we have a starting point.
Sure. Well, you could, I know that all of the terms of reference are in the package in front of you, so.
I'm just, the ones you have concern with.
I
that's
get
what
it,
I mean.
yeah. Community events and civic awards. My suggestion is that this be reviewed. I'm not 100% sure it's necessary. My sense is that this combined committee may be too much. And I know civic awards went to once every other year because they were having trouble getting people to be nominated for things. So I guess I'd just like this to take a look at this committee, whether we need to separate it into two, whether it's functioning as one. Well, I'm just not sure. I just got a sense that it was maybe a bit overwhelming for the volunteers.
I think it needs review, but I also think they need to get started as well.
They gotta go now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a point.
So for the community event committee, this is Councilor Brunt, Your Honor, I have 3 people that have offered their names up to be on that committee.
I'm sure they have applied. These are citizens?
Citizens.
Yeah, we're not appointing citizens this
Okay.
evening, just
No
members
problem.
of council. So there were 2 volunteers. That was Councillor Rowley and Councillor Bateman to sit on that. Are you still willing to stand for that? Yeah? So let's appoint them. And in the background, the team can review that committee as well. Heritage Advisory, both Councillor Tabman and Deputy Mayor Vink applied for that. I think Deputy Mayor Vink sits on that currently, and that's why I plunked her name there. You didn't? Very well. You're on. Yeah. Rural Advisory, I was astonished to see that it says there are 4 members of council that should sit on Rural Advisory. No, just
There's 2.
Councillor Martinello and I. That was it. So because of that, and because we wouldn't want a rural advisory committee that is made up of a quorum of council, and for other reasons, I think that the rural advisory committee should be put under review by the team, if that's okay.
Yep.
I am. Physician recruitment, same. I think it should be reviewed. But I think you'll hear a presentation tonight that may summarize your report fairly quickly.
For those of you who are entering, we are actually in the middle of a meeting, so just so you know that we're still in the middle of our committee of the whole, and the regular meeting will start at 6:30. Okay, thanks.
But you're welcome.
Yeah, of course.
Quinte Economic Development Commission, we continue to belong to that. Traditionally, the mayor has been the representative on that committee, and I very much want to continue that. I very much want to be on that committee. Well, okay there?
Yeah.
I just a question, just maybe a little bit of clarification. Mayor, I know you're busy in a lot of ways. I'm wondering, have we ever had just like an alternate, just in case? I see Councillor Anderson has maybe put his name down. Could we have the mayor will attend and then maybe, I guess maybe that's your job though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
When I was deputy mayor for a year, I did attend if the mayor couldn't.
And under the procedural bylaw, Deputy Mayor Vink would take on for me if I couldn't fulfill whatever obligations I had. So, yeah. Now, there are 2 citizen appointments, and I don't think it would be untoward of us to appoint another member of council, depending on the list of citizens we had apply for that job. So we can always open that up, right? Consider that.
Did you have a question? Go ahead.
I could apply for that.
Well, you wouldn't have to apply, right? When we're looking at the citizens that have applied, we could decide that at the time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can have that conversation. Brighton Provincial Wildlife Area, this used to be an active committee, but it's very much been, the working group very much got taken over by the Ministry of Natural Resources, who owns the property. The BPWA is a former gravel pit north of the 401. It was the gravel pit that was used to create the 401, essentially, and was closed and turned over to the Ministry of Natural Resources when the 401 opened. I'm suggesting Councillor LeBlanc sit on that. No one asked to sit on that. They met, I think, once last year and twice the year before. So it is not an onerous committee, but it is one that looks at the stewardship of that Brighton Provincial Wildlife Area.
Would love to see that.
Thank you. The Brighton Quinte West Family Health Team, we received a letter from the health team back in the last term of council, essentially saying they wanted to make themselves into a skills-based board. We didn't necessarily agree to that, so we do have a requirement to, under our rules, to appoint a member of council, and I think it would be, given the fact that the family health team rents a good portion of a building that the municipality owns, it would be appropriate for us to do that, and we can have discussions with the family health team about what their board looks like moving forward. And I'm suggesting Deputy Mayor Vink be appointed to that, although Councillor Bateman did express interest as well.
Seeing as I'm on this other review committee, I'm wondering if maybe Councillor Bateman would be interested at this point instead.
Done. Thank you. Chamber of Commerce, both Councillor Rowley and Councillor Anderson expressed interest. I plunked Councillor Rowley there because of her experience with the Chamber of Commerce. That's all. That's the only reason.
I would, I appreciate that, but I would maybe ask if Councillor Anderson would still be interested. As I say, with Applefest and a couple of the other things, I think we could probably work together on some things, Councillor Anderson. So I'm wondering if you would take that and I would take my name away from that.
And I think Councillor Vink may have expressed interest in that one as well. Or, pardon me, Deputy Mayor Vink, I'm sorry.
So the way, just so you have a bit of history, currently we don't technically have a seat at the Chamber of Commerce board. It was part of the contract we had with them. When we eliminated that contract as council, they asked me to continue on, which I did, and I didn't charge municipality to attend their meetings. So technically we don't have a seat there, but we want to work with them, so we should appoint someone so that as we negotiate or figure out what we're going to be involved with them, that we do have someone already appointed. That's my thought process. I don't know what you think.
I would agree with that. I see the future a little differently, so I would hope that we would still have somebody there.
Sure.
Thanks, Councillor. I look forward to having a seat there. I will accept that.
Okay, let's go with that.
You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's Councillor Anderson who will represent us at the Chamber. Codrington Community Centre, expressions of interest from Councillors Bateman, Rowley, and Tadman. I plunked Councillor Bateman there because I know he has experience having lived in the north end of the community. But that's the only reason. So I'll let you guys fight it out amongst yourselves.
Is everyone okay with that? Go ahead.
No fight, I think it'd be a good idea.
Oh, I wanted to fight.
Ah, too bad. What a shame. Community policing, no one expressed interest. I'm not sure how active the community policing organization is at the moment, but I know it still exists. So, Councillor Anderson, if you're interested, I threw your initials down.
understand it's not active right now, so I'm not sure if I want to be on a committee that's not active, but I don't know what it would take to re-establish it.
We're getting the thumbs up from a member of that committee in the gallery that it is in fact active.
Oh. It is? Okay.
But if you'd rather we appoint someone else, just say so.
Yeah, you can appoint somebody else.
All right. So who would like to be the rep?
I'm no policeman, but,
Neither are they.
and it's not where my interests lie, but I think Councillor LeBlanc would be good at something like that.
I'll wait on that. Okay. I'll work it.
Good. Thank you, Councillor LeBlanc. Drinking water source protection, Councillor LeBlanc was the only one who expressed interest, so I put his name down there. Good? Everybody good?
Yep.
Bright.
Just hold on for a second. Councillor Rowley?
Question on the drinking water source protection. Has that committee been in place for quite a while already? Was that not something under the Lower Trent?
Yes. I'll let Councillor Tadman speak to it. She was one of our Lower Trent reps
Yeah,
in the last
well-
term of council.
Anybody that's a board member on Lower Trent is automatically a part of the drinking water source protection, so I don't know if you have to appoint another person.
I thought that the appointment to the Drinking Water Source Protection Committee could not be
No, everyone we make,
Oh.
yeah, the whole board makes decisions.
for the Drinking Water Source Protection Committee?
Yep.
Really? Okay, that was not my understanding.
So, shall we just put that one on hold until we find out for sure?
You better find out who's on Lower Trent first.
We'll bookmark that. Perfect. Landfill Liaison Committee. I am the county representative to the Brighton Landfill Liaison Committee. Councillor LeBlanc was the only member of council who expressed interest, and Councillor Bateman drew the lucky straw for the random, who else can we put on there?
I'm good with that, thank you. Good.
So it's Councillor Blanc and Bateman?
Yeah.
Councillor Bateman, okay.
Yeah, and that committee meets at best quarterly, but not that frequently. Lower Trent Conservation Authority, Councillors Tadman, LeBlanc, and Bateman expressed interest. Councillor LeBlanc asked his name be withdrawn. Is that still the case?
It's true, because I thought I was going to be on the water source protection.
Right.
But I will, since I made the decision to withdraw my name, I'll keep it withdrawn.
Are you sure?
Yes.
So I'm suggesting Councillors Tadman and Bateman then.
I would like to add my name to the list before you make a decision.
Okay.
Perhaps you want to change your mind.
So,
Okay, any other thoughts on that? Right now we have Tadman, Bateman, and Anderson, and we just need the two.
we can only have two.
We can only have two. How would you like to go about this?
The committee did be established at the start, make the decision.
Don't forget your microphone, Councillor LeBlanc.
They're really waiting for the appointment so they can get on with their meetings. And I have sat on it before. I think I have quite a bit of knowledge of what goes on there, so I really would like to stay on that, and I'd be willing to give you another committee that I'm on if you want. And we could go back to the council committee review team, and instead of having 3 women, you could sit on that. Yeah, I found out who I had to work with.
No, you're right. You've been on it, and I know you do a good job at it, so I'll just step off the table, and you can have it.
Would you like to have the council committee review?
No, I'm fine. Yep. It's not a question of wanting or anything.
I'm glad they...
I want to see you busy. Yeah, I know. No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So that's Tadman and Bateman on
Okay.
Lower Trent.
Quinny Healthcare Community Advisory Committee, They did not request specifically any members of council. They asked us to appoint, the last term, they asked us to appoint members from the public. I'm not sure we appointed 3. I think we only have 1 there at the moment. And I'm not sure how long we're going to have that one, to be frank. So, it's not our committee to review. So it's the Quinney Healthcare Community Advisory Committee, and they have asked us to appoint members. That's all. I don't see why we couldn't.
Does anyone want to be on that committee?
I'm not volunteering. I'll get my hand back down.
You may speak otherwise.
May I speak, Deputy Mayor?
You may.
I think the mayor sat on that committee, if I'm not mistaken, but if you're you were also doing another job, so, and Ron was looking for more work, would you be interested in that?
Sorry, can you repeat which one?
That's the Quinney Healthcare Community Advisory Committee.
I thought there wasn't. There is one now?
There is one.
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Thank you.
Quinney Access, Councillor Tadman expressed interest and was the only member who expressed interest.
And don't take it away from me, because I really enjoyed that one.
Well, there we go.
Put your hand up.
SOHO, which is essentially the Proctor House Committee. There was no expression of interest, and you drew the good straw there, Councillor Bateman, if you're interested.
I keep drawing that straw. No, I'm good with that. It's fine.
Okay.
Safe Communities Northumberland. This is a committee, well, you could talk to Chief Caddick more about what this committee does throughout the county. 1 member of council for appointment, and for no particular reason, I chose Councillor Anderson, if you're interested.
Yes, thank you. I think it ties in with the emergency planning as well.
Great.
Great.
Zoning Bylaw Mature Neighborhood Steering Committee. Both Councillors Anderson and Councillor Rowley expressed interest in this, so I'm suggesting we appoint them. There is a meeting that the Deputy Mayor and I are attending tomorrow with the consultant, and they'll provide more information about that steering committee then. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
So the next one is an add-on. This came out of a discussion with the clerk early in December. The suggestion that we create departmental working groups. They do this at the county, where county councillors sit on departmental groups. It just gives you a sense of what's happening. It's not operational control. It really is just information that's happening in the departments. Curiously, we have looks like we have 7 departments and 7 members. So we would each sit on 2 if that's of interest to members of council.
I think that's a good idea. Any other thoughts?
So we have the clerk's office, finance department, Parks and Rec, Public Works, planning, and the fire department. That's 6. Do I have that right?
Just through memory, it looks like Councillor LeBlanc hasn't been appointed to a lot of committees. Could we? And he loves to do extra things. He was just looking at me, smiling, and say, "Please appoint me."
Well, we'll get him on a couple of these.
Okay,
I
good.
assure you.
Also, we're going to put 2 on.
2 on each department.
How often will these committees meet?
We haven't figured that one out.
Okay.
Well, you need to work too.
Quarterly-ish. Yeah.
Okay.
You'd enjoy that, don't
So clerk's office, volunteers,
We'll do that.
Deputy Mayor Vink, Councillor LeBlanc. Finance,
We'll do that.
I would like to do that as well. So you and I on that, okay? Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, I don't want it.
Laura and I, yeah. Parks and Rec, Councillor Bateman, Councillor Anderson, everyone okay with that?
Get your hand up, Dougie.
Public Works, Councillor LeBlanc, Councillor Bateman, everyone okay with that? Planning, I want planning.
You know.
Councillor LeBlanc and I, and Fire Department?
Yeah.
Oh,
everybody wants
everybody wants the fire department. Eh?
We want a
Everyone
new
wants the
fire hall.
toys. It's all about the toys.
Mary and I don't have a committee, we'll take fire.
Let them take fire.
You lost, Rob.
Four ladies want to be on.
You're already on others.
We got
Going to give you an argument for that. Well, I'm on the emergency planning and the safe communities. I thought the fire would tie in and then it would be a package.
No package deals here.
You know, sorry about your luck, Councillor Anderson. These two women will be terrific in fire. We'll get a new fire hall, new trucks and everything. Yeah.
They're quite excited. I don't think you want to take that away from them.
But if you really insist, you can go with Councillor Rowley.
I insist.
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
All right. Thank you. Is it too late?
The suggestion is that maybe annually we switch up who sits on what working group so that we get, over the course of the term, we get a sense of what the different departments do.
I think that's a brilliant idea.
There you are. I have those. I can go home now. You see, I've had my idea for the day. Is it? I thought it was Tadman and Rowley for fire. Oh, okay.
We negotiated.
Well done. Well negotiated.
I gave it to him.
There you go. It was a fine wine too, Councillor Anderson. That's fine. And coming out of our, and I see there's a notice of motion as well coming up, but coming out of our roundtable discussion with Mr. Piccini with regard to rural broadband connectivity, I'm suggesting, I'm stealing Councillor LeBlanc's suggestion that we form a committee. And I think that would be a good idea, a wise idea. But we should send it to the review team to come up with the terms of reference and suggest how many citizen members, but I would suggest 2 council reps.
Right.
And we can appoint those tonight if everyone's agreeable.
I would like to then appoint both Councillor Bateman and Councillor LeBlanc as representatives for this
I totally agree.
Yeah, I agree too.
I'm not a techie guy.
You're
Okay.
a get things done guy.
This is a policy committee.
Yes.
You don't have to know how to hook up a computer. You just have to know it's important that we do.
You probably have much in common with most of us and the
Exactly right.
community.
Yeah. But also, we will make sure this is reviewed by the committee review team, because we'll need a terms of reference for this group. And perhaps my suggestion would be that you touch base with Councillors Bateman and LeBlanc, but specifically Councillor Bateman. I think he has a lot of information on this one. Okay, those are our committees that I'm aware of. Councillor Bateman has a question. Deputy.
Go ahead, Councillor Bateman.
Deputy Mayor, thank you. I just want to thank the councillors that recommended me for those rural ones. And at this time, I'd like to tie it in, because I'm passionate about the whole municipality, but the rural as well. And I submitted my name and qualifications to Amos to be on the rural caucus, so I should be finding out shortly if I've got that, so it will tie in nicely.
That's great.
Well done.
Good.
The CAO has a comment.
Go ahead, CO.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, I'd like to seek clarification. We parked the drinking water source protection until we decide on Lower Trent. So I'd like to know if, just in the interest of being able to notify all these agencies, we'll need to have a name there.
We do have Councillor LeBlanc there, I believe.
Right now, we have Councillor LeBlanc there, but apparently, we're hearing that it's the 2 Lower Trent reps that become the drinking water source protection. So I guess I would ask the clerk's office to please clarify that for us. If we do need to make an appointment separate from the Lower Trent reps, we should do that. But until we know that for sure.
Thank you.
Through you, Mayor, I've never seen anybody, any council rep from anywhere at a source protection meetings other than the board people.
I sat on the Source Protection Committee way back when they
Yeah, well,
first
that's
started this.
changed, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
changed.
it was all when they were creating source protection areas.
Yeah.
And the terms of reference then were specific that the reps from the Conservation Authority could not sit on that. They
It's all
didn't want to
changed.
tie it. So
It's all changed.
I'm not doubting you. I just would like clarification.
Okay, anything else on that? Okay, so next we have question period. Any questions?
Actually, we should pass our motion.
Oh, we do have the motion. I read it, but we haven't passed it. Thank you. That council received the staff report regarding boards and committee appointments, and members of council be appointed to the various boards and committees of the municipality of Brighton, and that was moved by Councillor Rowley and seconded by Councillor Tadman. All those in favor? That's carried. Now we have question period, and I didn't see any hands. Okay, so at this point, we're ready to move back into the regular session. Let's make sure we've got... We're just going to adjourn? Okay, so I have a motion here to, who have we got? Moved by Councillor Bateman, seconded by Councillor Anderson, that the Committee of the Whole meeting of January 21st, 2019 adjourn at 6:21 p.m. All those in favor? It's carried.